Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Basic Treble podcast, the podcast with a lot of talk about music and a little bit of swearing. My name's Ashish. I'm your co-host.
And this is Nirupama. So, today's episode is something I have been absolutely psyched about. I wanted to do this for a very long time because I'm a huge fan of their music. Before that, weekly ritual random question. If you could live in one area of Bangalore, what would it be and why? Or, like, what's your favorite place of Bangalore?
Bangalore. Probably Jayanagar.
Don't you live in Jayanagar?
It's so peaceful, dude. There's like this is like the particular area I live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is like sort of known to be this place where old people come to retire. So it's like super quiet. There's gardens everywhere, and like amazingly
Uh,
chill, dude. You can just go in the weekends. There's literally like a line of gardens like all around
oh,
my house.
Forest Road.
No, no, no. Near National College.
Oh, okay, I'm clueless on where that is. I know Jayanagar is in Bangalore, that's it.
How about you?
Yeah, so I think my favorite. So there's a very residential part of Indranagar and a very residential part of MG Road. Like not MG Road, but like that area. That place is really nice. Like it's got nice roads and it's like very pretty, like a lot of trees and stuff. And I
Mm,
think like that area is very well maintained, especially MG, because you know a lot of activity keeps going on there, even Indranagar for that matter. So
mm.
I think the residential part of that area, or like JP Nagar, I absolutely love JP Nagar.
Cool, cool.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the Beatles. At a certain point of time, the Beatles were said that the Beatles were, I quote, more popular than Jesus. And okay, yeah. So a little about the band. The Beatles were an English rock band formed in Liverpool in 1960. The group, whose best-known lineup comprised of John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr, are regarded as the most influential band of all time. Their genres are basically rock, pop music, psychedelic rock, and the blues. So I think when I say the Beatles, the most iconic thing that comes to my mind is, you know, the Abbey Road, like the four of them walking across the road. So,
Mm.
yeah, I think out of the four of them, Ringo Starr and Paul McCartney are still alive. John Lennon was assassinated, and I believe George Harrison passed away as well. So yeah,
Mm.
what strikes you first when I say the Beatles?
Um, Probably the songs, dude.
Which one?
I like there's so many. Imagine is the most popular one that I've heard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then there's Yesterday, which I know because of Mr. Bean.
Oh, that's how you know.
Then
Really? How?
the
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Mr. Bean
Oh my
movie,
God,
the
yeah, they go to. Yes,
very
yes. I've watched that movie
the
a couple
song.
of times.
Yeah. So that's how I know that song, and I think it's really nice. Apart from that, I know them because of a separate band called the Bee Gees, who were created because of the Beatles.
Hmm.
And the number of bands that like because the Beatles were so popular, the um, I don't know what you call them, the studio heads at the time just went, okay, so just take three or four people who can sing and just throw them together, and
Yeah, no, I
that will
get
be
that. The
the
Beatles were
next.
extremely popular, dude. Like,
And the Beatles are sort of, I think the first permutation combination of your modern day girl group boy groups. Even though the Spice Girls actually created the modern version of girl groups and boy groups,
mm-hmm.
the original version of this could be seen from the Beatles itself,
Mm-hmm.
especially like the harmonies and stuff like that.
Right. So, yeah, I think so. The Beatles are actually they've got so many different stories, though, so many controversies behind them,
Mm,
and I think Okay, so what we thought was a little about the Beatles and a couple of stories. So the band's logo, I think, is a beautiful font. It was designed by this person called Ivor Arbiter. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing that right, but I think
Mm.
that is a very iconic font today. They
Yeah.
broke up in 1970, 1969, 1970. In December 1980, Lennon was shot and killed outside his New York City apartment. Harrison
Mm.
rewrote the lyrics of his song all those years ago in Lennon's honor. So, a very interesting thing I heard about from somebody was the person who assassinated Lennon, right? So after he shot
Yeah.
Lennon, when the cops came to arrest him, he was very calmly sitting on a bench and reading this book called Catcher in the Rye. So,
Yeah.
what happened was initially it was just like a very nice, happy tale and everything, but after that they realized that it has a very it's kind of it's metaphorical to a very very dark story. So that book came into
Mm.
a lot of controversy after this.
Yeah, and I've read the book and I don't know exactly what part of the book was meant to be so controversial.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe it was the age where like today there are so many books where Catcher in the Rye isn't even that controversial. Whereas maybe back in those days,
I think 1984 is so much more controversial.
yeah. But I think at the time at least it was all about World War II and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Yeah,
though even though we're sort of seeing it today.
yeah. So that's there, but okay. So one thing about the Beatles breakup, it was a very cumulative process. But yeah,
Mm.
Catcher in the Rye, that's a book I've always wanted to read. I read To Kill a Mockingbird, and I think that story is dark enough. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that book came into a lot of controversy after Lennon's assassination.
Yeah.
So yeah, their breakup was a very cumulative process. I mean, it their manager Brian Epstein died in 1967. So
Mm.
I feel like in the Beatles, Lennon was more of like he was just like soulful and like he just wanted to have fun making music. But McCartney was the performer,
Mm.
and Harrison was a songwriter, and Ringo kind of kept them all together.
Yeah.
I feel like that and but yeah, so Lennon started using heroin. His relationship with Yoko Ono, a very very unpopular take, but I believe that his relationship with Yoko Ono had a lot to play in why the Beatles broke up. And yes,
Yeah.
managerial managerial disputes,
Mm.
floundering of Apple Corps, and Get Back Project. Get Back Project was basically Let It Be 1970. So during the 1970s, they all collaborated a little bit, but never actually came back together. And Lennon
Mm.
had a huge fight with McCartney that way. He said maybe a year or two later, when all the money things settle, we might have dinner and just like forget about it. But
Mm.
yeah, I think the Beatles breaking up has like I think people are very traumatized generally, by um and I think Yoko gets a lot of hate for it. She's pretty old now, but I mean they met
Mm.
in 1966. She's pretty old. I think she's probably in her 60s, 70s. But yeah, I think that receives an unholy amount of hate.
Yeah. I also think that her style of music itself was so. I mean, there's weird, and then there's just trying to be weird. Like if you were to take someone like Frank Zappa, for example,
Mm-hmm.
his music was everywhere, but there was always like like he was making it because he actually liked it, he actually
Right,
enjoyed it. With
right.
Yoko Ono, it almost seemed like, well, this is weird, so I'm going to do it. Like
No, I've
there
heard a
is.
couple of songs of what Yono did, but I mean, I was like, it didn't vibe with me. But saying that, there were actually songs she sat with John in the recording studio with the guys with the Beatles, and she was like, no, I want to sing in these songs. I want a background voice in these songs. And
Mm.
Harrison got angry, and McCartney, obviously, I think McCartney has a little bit of a temper that way, but yeah, of course, he did get angry. So I think The Beatles is very synonymous to, that way. They met in 1966. She was preparing for an
Mm,
exhibition, and they began a whirlwind romance. They were married 3 years later, and I think,
mm,
yeah. And George Harrison went into, I mean, he started using a lot of psychedelic drugs, I believe, and he went to India, and he learned the
mm.
sitar from Ravi Shankar.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there is this
I mean
project
the
by George. It's called Chants of India, and it's all these shlokas that are very famous. Like we all learned all of that. Most Indians did at least.
yeah.
And he's playing the guitar in the background, guitar or sitar, but he collaborated with that. So
Oh, nice, nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been a lot of Eastern influence on their music. Like, even if you see a few songs, the sort of instruments that they use in there, apart from just the sitar as well, they have a lot of other instruments as well playing in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's there. I mean, I think the Beatles were very melodic that way. But,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
like, okay, there is, according to me, like I probably divide the Beatles into three kinds of music. One part is their love songs, it's very pretty and very nice, and one part is
Mm.
all of their stuff like Here Comes the Sun and Let It Be, not Let It Be,
Mm.
but Here Comes the Sun and stuff. And the other part is songs like Let It Be and Hey Jude. Extremely
Yeah.
popular, but it's so dark. Hey Jude was actually composed um,
Yeah.
for one of their sons or one of their children to accept a new mother into their life.
Yeah.
I think it was John's son or somebody, but yeah, I mean, I think there was a very dark part of the Beatles that way. Like
Yeah. And I
While My
mean, like
Guitar
they
Gently
talked about.
Weeps, Blackbird.
Mm. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure like they talked about their life at the time.
Hmm.
And I mean, at that level, at least, like especially after their, they're bigger than Jesus comments, like that. That brings a lot of fame and a lot of love, but it also brings a lot of hate,
Yeah, a lot
with it.
of
So I think,
people started, blaming the Beatles for being antichrist or something. A lot of people attribute 60s heavy metal, like they invented 60s heavy metal.
hmm,
But there's, I
uh,
think that's the only proof that metal is not anxiety and angst and anger and pent up frustration. Their songs are so happy.
yeah,
Bro, like, have you heard their song called Birthday? It's it's kind of heavy, okay, but I mean, even Come Together,
hmm,
that is pretty much the basics of heavy metal. Now that's the thing, right? So I was listening to Black Sabbath's NIB yesterday, and I realized it's a love song written by the drummer on behalf of Lucifer. So it's not really dark. It's like, bro, the song is so beautiful. And even Foo Fighters, I don't they write songs, but it's not like pent up frustration and screeching and angst,
yeah. Like, no, I'm talking more of like, like how you talk about super pop stuff,
Oh
which
yeah.
is so bright and stuff like that.
No
Like,
man, I think super pop stuff is also kind of got um, very full of angst today.
yeah, like, but again, like, for example, I don't remember the name of the song, but it was basically talking about how it is to be alone. But then they always have this bridge into the chorus that's so weird and so out of sync with the song that
Mhm.
it makes it really, really bad.
Mhm.
And like, no, but like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, if you have like a sad, angsty song,
Mhm.
putting in like a happy chorus there just sort of breaks the mood, and there are ways to do it. Like, you could do it sort of ironically, where you're singing and you're happy but you're singing about something bad because you know it's it's almost like, well, we're fucked, so we can't really do anything about this, so let's just laugh. So there are definitely songs like that, you know for example, I forgot what their names are. Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh, the Sound of Silence is a very very
Yeah.
dark song, dude. Like that.
Not just that, but their entire album, right? Bridge Under Troubled Water. That
Yeah.
one. Wait, what's it? Yeah, yeah. So, no, sorry, Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Mm-hmm.
That one, uh, there are songs in that that sound happy, but they're about such bad things because it's almost written in that way. You know, like we're fucked, but what else can we do about it now? So it's almost written in that sort of way. So in that way, I think yeah, it could be happy, definitely. But I
Hmm.
don't think you could have the sort of pop happiness in metal without sort of changing the entire song a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because
No, I
even
mean
the Beatles songs, it
that
even
is true. Beatles, yeah, Beatles does have a lot of very insanely dark stuff. Like I'm not able to comprehend what Blackbird means, to be honest. Like it's it's sad. But yeah, back
mm,
to the Beatles. They weren't called the Beatles initially. Lennon started a band called the Quarrymen and asked Paul McCartney. He brought in George, and the initial drummer was a person called Peter Best. Ringo Starr replaced Peter Best, and they changed their names a few times. One was Johnny and the Moondogs, the Rainbows, and the
mm,
British Everly Brothers.
mm,
And yeah, a number of Beatles albums sold on iTunes as of July 2012 is
mm,
585,000, and iTunes single is 2.8 million. I mean, that's not even a surprise. This is, I
mm,
mean, I got this from a website called Fact Retriever, but
mm,
yeah, I mean, just giving credits. But yeah, saying that, I think the Beatles. One more thing is Beatles were associated with a lot of movements that were very revolutionary or progressive at that time.
mm,
So they became. It was like women's liberation, gay liberation, environmentalism, and Yoko and John also kind of. I think they were like that activist couple.
mm. Yeah, I think even then there was the Vietnam War, right, which they were against.
Yeah, yeah, that's there. Lennon was dyslexic and legally blind, according to this website. I'm like, whoa.
Mm,
But yeah, I
yeah.
mean, uh, so yeah, they actually had a lot of bands from BBC, like I Am the Walrus, Lucy in the Sky was, with Diamonds, and A Day in the Life for alleged
Mm,
drug references.
yeah. I mean, like, I Am the Walrus sounds like I think that whole album,
Dude,
Sergeant
Lucy in the
Pepper,
Sky with Diamonds is so,
obviously,
bro,
like
it's
that's
like,
clear reference.
I don't think anybody could have wrote that song without being like super high.
Yeah, but even then, like, I think their Sergeant Pepper's album, that whole thing was just them throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what stuck.
Yeah, I
They,
think no, I like most of their albums too. I think one of my favorite songs is The Long and Winding Road. It's very, very underrated. Everybody just listens to Here Comes the Sun and Yesterday, but
yeah.
yeah, I think that's a very beautiful song.
Which one?
The Long and Winding Road.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
So Lennon considered Elvis Presley as a huge influence. I mean, he kind of prayed to Elvis Presley, and then he met Presley, and he wasn't so impressed. Presley actually covered "Hey Jude" in about 100 takes. I've heard the takes, and it's a lot of humming and like a lot of. I don't really care about the lyrics attitude, in my opinion.
Hmm.
But
Well, I think
hmm,
both of them are like rock legends that sort of went too early. Uh,
um,
and both of
I
them
think
sort of.
Randy Rhoads went too early that way. Bro, the amount of songs the Beatles have done is insanely crazy. Randy Rhoads was 25, bro. I was reading about him yesterday. It's just tragic, absolutely. But yeah, I think Lennon being shot it was very revolutionary at that point. It's very pivotal.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because, bro, like, okay, now if you have like yeah, it was very unfortunate, of course, but like the whole incident had so many stories warping around it. Like the picture that was taken right before Lennon died, which was of Ono and John, became insanely popular. The person who shot Lennon was reading a book of Catcher in the
Hmm.
Rye. he's been sentenced to life, and he was just calm, like he was just calmly reading a book. He took an autograph
Mm.
from Lennon, and
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't able to figure out why he shot Lennon, but you know, there's so many stories, and they wanted to star in a film of The Lord of the Rings. They wanted Stanley
Mm.
Kubrick to direct it.
Wow.
And yeah, the most photographed subject of the 60s was the Beatles.
Mm.
But I think, yeah, dude, like every incident the Beatles went through or during the Beatles' time was so pivotal. Now, Harrison went to India, and all of them went to India with him, and he learned the sitar from Ravi Shankar.
Mm.
He became a he kind of started following a lot of Hinduism that way.
Mm.
And yeah, John Lennon grew his hair, and I think he had no resemblance to who he was before, you know.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
But
But and yeah,
mhm.
go on.
No, go on. I was
Yeah, I was just thinking about the bands that they have sort of brought on as well, because the whole sort of big band style of the 50s and 60s,
mhm,
they sort of first took inspiration from. So you had like what's his name, Chuck Berry and other artists like him,
mhm,
who the Beatles sort of copied and they covered. And then copying the Beatles, you had these groups like the Mamas and the Papas. You had Bee Gees, stuff like these groups, who
mhm.
sort of then covered them and sort of made their music so much for the next 10, 20, 30 years.
Right, right.
And you even see the amount of songs that they have written, not just for the Beatles, but for other bands, for other artists,
Mhm.
and the amount of songs that they have produced.
Yeah.
And it's a lot, yeah.
So, yeah, I think one thing I just read that so Ono once said that Beatles helped feminize the culture by
Mm,
they spoke to so many young teenage girls of possibilities.
yeah.
So it is said that a lot of people said it. I think the Beatles were one of the first few artists who so vocally stood for equality. Like in my opinion, I think Ringo Starr is one of the most underrated drummers in my opinion. But yeah, I think they were so vocal about what they thought was right. They were like, yeah, we think this is right, and we think we should be doing this.
Mm, yeah.
So I think that's very important. Just give me a second. Five
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I think that's pretty important. And yeah, one thing I want to talk about is yeah, Pete Best was called their fifth Beatle, and funnily enough, in the Abbey Road picture they had, there's a Volkswagen Beetle behind, and that kind of the fifth Beatle joke goes on.
Yeah, but so many other people have been called the fifth Beatle. Like uh, Epstein
Yeah,
was called the fifth Beatle as
no,
well.
he was their manager, right? But Pete
Yeah, and
Best was the drummer.
Pete Best was the former drummer.
Yeah,
So the interesting thing about Pete Best is he was their drummer before Beatles
Ringo
became
Starr.
famous.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
I think
no.
every
So,
person plays a very important role in a band, whether they
no,
were there for like a day or a month or an hour or whatever.
but here's what happened with Pete Best, right? So he was the drummer before, like just before they went famous. Once
Yeah,
he left and they brought on Ringo Starr, their album went massive. So
that's
now
true.
he has, and he got so sort of distraught over their success that he now has a medical condition named after him. It's called the Pete Best syndrome.
Oh,
It's like what happens to people who just miss out on success.
mm-hmm. Dude, that's actually so interesting. Wait, I'm just googling this up. Yeah, Pete Best syndrome. There's actually haunting feeling that you could have been a contender. That's sad, dude. Like that is. I think the last band we spoke about, Floyd, also was a little like that. I guess. I think
Yeah,
yeah, that's where we spoke about the syndrome first, if I'm not wrong.
yeah.
So
But
one thing
then
I
I called
actually,
it the.
hmm,
Hey, go on.
so one thing I actually want to bring to uh, this a discussion point is okay. Before that, what was the first time you heard a Beatles song, and who's your favorite Beatle?
Paul McCartney, because there is a chance that he might not be the real Paul McCartney. And first time I heard a Beatles song. Oh,
First, real Paul McCartney?
yeah. So I think we will get onto this when we go to like their like big controversies. There's so many conspiracies and conspiracy theories
Mm-hmm.
around that. And
Okay, so one thing, yeah. So Drake in 2019, we know Drake, the Hotline Bling guy. He got a
yeah,
tattoo of Beatles Abbey Road, you know, and
and
he was in front and he's looking at them and he's saying stop because he beat the Beatles on the charts. I
wow,
think I don't know, man. Like he
who cares?
shattered their record, and you love. I think being a musician in the 60s and being a musician in the 21st
Hmm.
century is very different. The number of people who heard the Beatles at that time, and the number of, I mean, the way of promoting stuff, they didn't have Instagram back then. They had radio and like
Yeah,
gramophones, I think. But now,
yeah.
I don't know, like, I was very off by that tattoo, dude. Like, I didn't like it.
No, but that's probably why he did it, because today's musicians are not like really musicians. They're just famous people who happen to make music.
No, I think
You know,
that's fine. Like, a couple of them make really good music, dude. Like,
couple of them, but like you look at the
yeah,
majority of the chart toppers,
no,
right?
man,
I
but
mean, like,
Drake's got a good voice. Like, but
no, but even then, like, if you were to go back,
disrespecting somebody who probably laid the foundation to a very huge genre or a huge spectrum of music is straight out disrespectful. Be it anybody, I just feel that way.
but even there, like, I don't feel like he was doing it because he was disrespectful. I felt like he did it because he knew that would be a big news story. Like that would add to
Bro,
his
like
fame.
then draw it on your hand or something. Why do you get a permanent tattoo of you saying stop to the Beatles as they cross the road because you beat them in their charts?
That pisses people off. Like how we're talking about it now, people will be talking about it around the world. You know,
I
and
like how
yeah,
you're trying to explain controversies in media attention to me, but yes.
no, but like that's pretty much what most musicians today do, right? Like if you look at Cardi B, for example,
Hmm.
her songs are shit. So what does she do?
Yeah, look, her
She
songs are super catchy, man. Like, I'm not saying she's got some very
honestly,
meaningful lyrics there, but they're super catchy, and a lot of them get a lot of controversy in it.
and that's why it sells, because there's controversy in it.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
that's there.
like there's nothing substantial about that music at all. It's not like something you listen to and be like, wow, yeah, that's gonna push music further. It's just,
Hmm.
she's a B Tech Nicki Minaj. She used to do it first, now she's here, and like
Yeah,
I think that's part
I
of the
mean,
pop
third
scene
rate
today.
artists is. I'm not saying she's a third rate artist, but I really feel like, yeah, okay, she
But
invents new words and stuff. She says okur and all, and I don't even know what that means, dude. Like, I didn't know.
I
Apparently,
can
it's one
also
of the sounds she makes. I'm like,
also
okay,
make new words. No, like every culture has their own words. Like for like
bro.
for
Like,
example,
no, she
Bangalore
made
has
those words.
Bob.
Like, those are Cardi B reactions,
No,
trademark.
but Bangalore has the word Bob, right?
Matcha Bob is like, okay, we have matcha also. See, getting back to the topic, I think insulting a musician who, insulting any musician is horrible, and insulting any artist is horrible. But insulting a musician who opened the spectrum of music, and Beatles is the probably the reason we have the Bee Gees. We have so many other bands today.
Hmm. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very true that way. And okay, so a very unpopular opinion. Just go listen to George Harrison's Chants of India and all his work he made after getting into Hinduism. I feel there's a genre called side trance or trance music or something. So it's all these Hindu slokas put with a lot of EDM and like psychedelic stuff. I really feel like not George Floyd, George Harrison opened up that genre of music very well. and I think he played a very pivotal role in starting off that genre of music.
Yeah. I mean, it was the 60s, right? It was when cocaine just hit the streets.
Yeah, bro.
To be
Like
honest.
that's an all fine, but I really feel like once he came to India and he started that, like this side trance music or this trance, I think it's called side trance. It's very very popular. Like I've heard a couple of songs, did not really appeal to me, but yeah, a lot of people I know listen to it. And I really
Mm.
feel like George Harrison was one of the first people to actually start exploring that music, and people started listening to him because he was like, oh, Beatles guy is composing music, and then people just caught on to it that way. Like I really feel like that's something.
Yeah.
But he was a genius songwriter, bro. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, I think all four of them wrote pretty well.
hmm,
Especially like I mean, I don't think they were like super complex. Like how
their lyrics are
um
simple. Even if it has like a metaphor
yeah,
or something, it's damn sweet.
yeah, and I think the lyrics are nice in that
It's
like
wholesome. It's like
yeah,
woo woo
no, but it's not
lyrics.
even wholesome. It's almost like they've laid themselves bare. Like if you look at a track like Imagine, it's not overly complicated, but the message is really nice, and it just sounds so impactful, even though it's like super simple.
Yeah, that's why it's wholesome. It's like woo woo songs.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm an internet girl. I said woo
I
woo
like how
songs on the
you
podcast.
Beatles is an woo band.
Beatles is an woo band, dude. Come on.
I think we just found the title of the episode. Beatles is an woo band. We're gonna get all the anime fans here.
Yes, I'm here. But
Oh,
like,
by the way, make your own speech for the five more fans that we got.
yeah, true. But bro, like their songs have stuff like "I wanna hold your hand" and all that. So cute, dude. Like
Yeah.
Beatles is a band that could have made girls in the '60s swoon, and like I can assure you that there are girls still swooning about the Beatles. Like this is a fact.
Yeah. I mean, like, again, when we talk about modern artists and how much freedom they have, that came from the Beatles and Elvis and stuff like that,
I think
who
the
were causing
Beatles, dude. Now
controversy.
Elvis didn't stand for a lot of causes. Okay, but the
No,
Beatles were
but
so vocal that way. Maybe not
no,
Ringo, but
but even like Elvis, even though like he didn't stand for anything, but freedom of expression, at least back then, Elvis's dance moves, right, at least back in the day, they caused a lot of controversies.
hmm
So his whole thing at the time was that he wanted more freedom in music. So Elvis was the first big, this guy is too controversial, this guy is a bad influence. And from him, then came the Beatles, then came, the heavy metal scene after that, which
right.
were all meant to be bad influences.
Yeah, I
And
think
they
that's
sort
what
of
people
opened up
mean
the
when they
market.
say Beatles invented heavy metal in the
Hmm.
'60s.
Yeah.
But
But I also think
yeah, dude,
if
like
you
the Beatles, like maybe Blackbird has a very dark meaning behind it or whatever. It's so sweet, dude. Like I
no,
don't
but
know, if
it's
somebody sang songs like that to me, I'd melt.
no, but it's a song about black people's struggle, right? At least this was what I can say from the
I think
uh,
anybody, okay, yeah, black people probably it was against racism, and it intended to empower people who are victims of racism. But I think it's really sweet. Like when I'm down, I listen to the Beatles because, and I have a public playlist called Uwu songs, and there's a cover of Paul McCartney singing Blackbird. It was just really cute, so I made the playlist. Bro, like I
on the
think,
title.
yeah, man. Like, no, Beatles as an Uwu band should definitely be the title of this podcast. But I
Yeah,
think the Beatles have their lyrics are so sweet, dude. Like, here comes the sun. That's so sweet. It's nice, dude. It's so easy to
yeah,
understand. You don't need to go to I mean, your English teacher's probably going to complicate it a little more for you, but you don't
yeah,
need to go to your teacher to, like, understand, the lyrics. It's simple,
yeah,
it's sweet.
yeah. Which I think sort of contributed to their early success. It was there was very
People
popular.
could relate.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
It was radio friendly.
Yeah, I mean, you can have an 8-year-old, like, bro. So I think if you sing, uh, I want to hold your hand to like an 8-year-old. If the 8-year-old is decently capable of understanding, he or she would just like hold your hand because it
Yeah,
says so. So there
yeah.
is a movie called Yesterday, and there's a person called Himesh Patel or Himesh Sharma,
Oh
who
yeah, yeah, good.
did you hear? Oh my God, the covers are so
Yeah,
beautiful, dude. Like I was like, okay, that's the closest we're gonna get to Beatles in a very long time.
I didn't hear the covers, but I saw the trailer of the movie, and I was interested in seeing if it'd be any good.
Oh no, I heard the song today. I was just like, I just go on like a Beatles rabbit hole every now and then. But
Oh,
I
okay,
feel like
nice.
Beatles live is, I mean, I've not watched a lot of their live performances. Iron Maiden has like very iconic lives. Floyd has very
Yeah,
iconic lives, but Beatles, most of it's recorded.
yeah. I mean, it's in the '60s. There weren't very good cameras at the time.
Huh, no, but like I wouldn't. Yeah, that's there, but yeah, I mean that's true.
You know, like I think that's the main issue with a lot of like older bands, even with like Elvis or Chuck Berry at the time. It's just that the technology wasn't there.
That's there. That's there. Oh, on a lighter note, so Paul McCartney recorded a song with Kanye West and who's that? Rihanna in 2014, and
Hmm.
people, our generation was very shocked. They were like, "Wow, Kanye giving everybody new opportunities. Yeet, so cute, wholesome, cute, cute, and all."
Dude, I think we need to do a separate episode on Kanye. Man. That guy's so weird and so
No
out
man,
there.
I don't know. I haven't I heard only the 4 5 seconds. It's a very sweet song. But yeah,
Yeah. Look, Uh,
saying that
Paul
happened to
McCartney,
Post Malone and Ozzy also, no?
yeah, like I think
And
Paul
then when
McCartney.
Taylor Swift released her new album, she released Fearless. No, bro, one album she released last year, no?
What are you asking me for?
I
I
don't
am
know,
the
man.
last
You're
one.
the Taylor Swift fan around here. So she released an album last year, and all
Uh,
these people on Twitter were commenting, "Oh, she worked so hard on this album. Now there's a new band called Tool which has chances of taking first. We cannot let this embarrassment happen." And we're like, "All right, waited 13 years, mate. Cry."
oh my
And
god, man.
when Ozzy recorded, I actually have a lot of respect for Post Malone. But yeah, when Ozzy
Yeah,
recorded Take What You Want with Post Malone, a lot of people were like, Ozzy is the real hero. He's giving chances to new talented people like Mr. Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne has a great future in the music career. I'm
yeah,
like, yo, he's the Prince of Darkness. He
yeah.
ain't
But
a
I think,
bat.
no, but again, I think a lot of these older musicians have that sort of passion to make music, and I think working with new artists that at least know what they're doing is fine. I think they can make decent music
Yeah,
still now.
that's true. I think I really liked Post Malone's collaboration with Ozzy. It was nice. It was
Yeah,
fun to listen to.
yeah.
Hmm. But yeah, dude, like, I think the Beatles are gonna remain popular for a very, very long time. Oh, George Harrison was stabbed 7 times by an intruder in 1999.
By who?
An intruder.
An intruder. Why?
I don't know, man. So,
Did he piss
yeah,
him off or
oh,
something?
funny, funny. Uh, One critic noted that Peter's Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club was the closest
Hmm.
Europe had been to unification since the Congress of Vienna in 1815.
Wow. Uh, I mean, like, wait, wasn't that when the UN was formed as well?
UN was formed in 1945,
Yeah,
before
no, but
1945.
but the no, I'm saying that the UN was already there, right, at the time.
Hmm,
Like,
yeah.
what major conflict was happening
Mm-hmm.
in the EU, at least?
Hmm. I don't know that. I'm very clueless about the entire civic
world?
history, like, yeah, world is there. I'm generally clueless about that. But I'm also clueless about like the UN. I know the League of Nations. I
Hmm.
think that was for democracy or something, but that shut down maybe. And I know General Secretary, UNHRC, UN,
Hmm.
UNICEF. UNICEF, I appreciate. And then
No,
some
the
peacekeeping
League of,
force.
yeah, League of Nations was basically the UN. The
Mm-hmm.
UN has succeeded because nobody wants to use a atom bomb again.
Oh, yeah, Japan left that, no?
Hmm.
Didn't they?
Japan didn't leave that. Like Japan took the brunt of that. They didn't leave it.
Oh, that's what, bro. I didn't study for my social seventh standard exam, and I don't intend on reading all that now. But yes, Ringo Starr accidentally had his toenails removed
By whom?
by a doctor. He misread tonsils as toenails.
Wow.
I'm sorry, that's
Wait,
funny.
wait,
Bro, imagine going to like the doctor and be like, please remove my toenails.
wait. He had his toenails removed, which means his doctor also misread the instructions.
I imagine going to your doctor and be like, hey, can you remove my toenails?
No, but wait. If he did have his toenails removed, not only has he misread his whatever was there,
He
but
read
his
tonsils
doctor
as
also
toenails,
misread it.
dude.
No, but you told me that he had his toenails removed, right? Which means his doctor also misread it.
Maybe the doctor did read the prescription. Maybe he went and he was like, no, you have to remove my toenails.
Oh wow.
Oh, no, no, no. Yeah, he was the one who misread it. BBC announcer Roy Williams accidentally reported that Ringo Starr had his toenails removed.
Wow.
Oh, wait, no. I'm really confused. In 1964, BBC announcer Roy Williams accidentally reported Ringo Starr had his toenails removed. Oh,
Oh, so
he had
so
his
he did have his
tonsils
toenails
removed. This guy was. Oh my god, dude.
removed. Let's just hope you never have to get your tonsils removed.
Yeah,
It
I
would
hope not.
wait
I actually hope not. Bob
Oh my
Dylan introduced the Beatles to marijuana. Paul
wow.
McCartney became an outspoken advocate for its legalization.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But Paul McCartney, I think at the time everyone was nicely drinking, and even then I think it's only became illegal because of what's his name, Reagan and his whole thing.
Yeah, bro.
What
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah, that's true. Reaganomics.
Hmm.
Sad. But yeah, I think, yeah, Beatles did a lot of hard drugs, dude. Like, John
Hmm.
Lennon and Harrison were regularly doing cocaine, or like they were doing a lot of hard drugs, and Ringo would join them once in a while.
Hmm.
But Ringo was a very underrated drummer. Like, he kind of kept the band together, and like he was the entire
Hmm.
glue of the band in a way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's what happens when you have like a bunch of very good musicians together.
Hmm.
Is
Yeah.
becomes difficult to sort of. I think keep your creative stuff out of your personal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, it's been about an hour, so we're gonna end the
Mm.
episode. Thank you for. Oh, in other news, we had a guest a couple of weeks ago, called Cucumber. He's a DJ. He produces big room music. Um, so I'm gonna call it EDM. He's got a new release. It's called Asura. It's on Spotify. Check it out. We have a Discord channel. Join the Discord channel. We'll be promoting all kinds of stuff there. We will also listen to music once in a while. We've actually been listening to a lot of music on the group too.
Mm.
But yeah,
Mm.
so thank you for listening to Beatles is an Uwu band. It's been a great episode. Real lot of interesting stuff about the Beatles. That was Ashish on the other side, and this is Nirupama. If you do like what you listen to, do follow the Basic Treble podcast. Fill the form below if you want to be a part of the Basic Treble podcast. Join our Discord server. Thank you and have a good day.